When you got eliminated, when you fell through the thing, they edited it nicely to make it seem like you fell like thousands of feet.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, spoiler alert, it's a stunt double. I did not fall.
Ah,
They swapped you out?
Yes, they swapped me out with a much taller woman with like blonde hair, and I was just like, how is this gonna work? Like, they just ripped my patch off, and I was like,
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
guys, welcome back to Oops the Podcast. I am Giulio Gallerati, joined by my trusty confidant, Ryan Lynch.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good
Mr.
afternoon,
Chipotle,
Giulio.
or formerly known as Mr. Chipotle. Tisk tisk. We'll get some more. We'll get some more updates about that on the next episode. You guys know where you can find me. This month, I'm going to be at the Sunshine Comedy Festival in the Tampa area, the 11th through the 15th. Use code Giulio when you get tickets. I think you get some sort of discount or something, or at the very least, it helps me because they know that you guys are using my code. So get in there and come check that out. That's the 11th to the 15th. The 18th, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. 19th, San Diego, California. And Lynch will be joining me on the 1st in Stamford at New York Comedy Club Stamford. That's going to be exciting to have you there, bro.
Excited about that, dude.
Kicking the show off. Should be really fun. And then the 16th of February, filming my first special in Chicago. 16th, 2 shows. Those tickets are moving pretty quick, but there are still some left. So if you want to grab some, you should. We'd love to see you there. That's going to be a lot of fun. We'll do a big little party afterward. I guess it's not going to be too big, but it'll be big enough. We'd love to have you there. So especially if you listen to the pod and you heard me say this, you are definitely invited. But without further ado, we have a very special episode of Oops the Podcast coming up. We've been promising her for a while. It was actually a cool way that this all unfolded. Ryan has a random sort of personal connection to one of the contestants on Squid Game's The Challenge. She went to high school in Victoria.
And when I found out that she was on it, after we started watching the show, we championed her the whole way through. So she was my character I was rooting for.
She made it pretty far.
Pretty damn far.
And I will say this too. The episode isn't going to spoil the show too much. So if you haven't watched it yet, you can still listen to this and it will actually not really ruin much for you, to be honest, if anything, except you will know Marina's specific fate. But either way, give the show a watch and enjoy the episode. This is a good one. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Oops the Podcast. As promised, along with our friend Ryan Lynch here, we have a very special guest. You might recognize her from Squid Game's The Challenge on Netflix. Contestant number 77. Please give it up for Marina Palladino.
what's up? What's up?
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you rocking the gear. That is really exciting for us.
I had to. I feel like all the squids just have it hanged up somewhere, like hung up somewhere, and just easy access. Just
Do you wear it when you're going out and about, running errands and stuff?
no, absolutely not. Hell no. No, I'm good.
So is that what you guys refer to yourselves as, squids?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yep. It's easier, just a whole bunch of squids.
Absolutely. We have so many questions for you. We love the show. We were rooting for you.
Thank you. I know. So close, so close.
So close.
When we first started watching the show, I was watching it with my girlfriend and her family, and somebody mentioned that there was someone they knew from high school, from town, that was competing on the show. And I wasn't familiar with you, but as soon as it was pointed out to me by my girlfriend's family that you went to school with them, we were championing you the entire way through.
Thank you.
And I remember, towards the beginning, we didn't see as many shots of you. It was only like a couple here and a couple there. And we were really doing the where's Waldo, where's Marina, where's player 77 while watching the show.
456 contestants. There's a lot to film, a lot of people at one point. So
yeah,
actually, when me and my family were premiere watching it, they had this thing where every time you saw me on TV, they'd take a shot or a drink or whatever it would be. So like by episode 5, everyone's like, we gotta go home. Like,
Yeah. Because you were on so much, like you progressively got so much more screen time. So I'm sure.
yeah, as like the cast got smaller and smaller, like you had way more people to focus on. There's less people, so way more focusing on the little thing that's going on instead of like, I don't know. It was like prison at one point. With I think it was 298 people at one time. 198, something like that.
All right. So we have so many questions. So I guess we'll just get right into it.
All right.
So first of all, everybody listening, we made sure everybody knew that they needed to watch the show. So spoilers are coming, everybody. And if you haven't watched, you can pause now, watch, and come back.
Yes.
Marina finished in the top 5% on the show. Got into the final 20.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
When you think about it, yes, but like the whole time you're in there, like 2 weeks felt like 2 months in there. So like, yes, you really, as you saw like the number hit 20, you really were like, oh my God, this is real.
The sleeping arrangements, that's one of the first things that popped into my mind with, what's real, what's not real, what happens when the cameras are off. When you guys were done with red light, green light, did you all sleep in that big room together? Was that how it actually played out?
So I think that was the original plan, but red light, green light took about, there's a lot of people saying like 8 or 9 hours. It took about 7 hours for me. So they just brought us back to the hotel that we were quarantining in for the first 3 days that we like flew down there. And then the next day we got driven to the dorms and like lived that lifestyle from here on out. But like, I don't think they expected 8 or 9 hours to be filming one game. So 26-degree weather. I was wearing this, a thermal, 2 pairs of socks, just Vans, like, those types of shoes. And the first 3 hours I had to pee. I like lost that feeling because then I started getting cold. And then I was like, I did not fly down here to fly home. So like, yeah, 7 hours. I don't know how I did it. Probably can't do it again. But like, yeah, I did it.
But first of all, it took 7 hours to shoot the red light, green light.
It took longer. It took me 7 hours because I finished a little bit quicker than a couple of the groups that I think maybe 2 more groups actually ended up finishing after me. Wow. But yeah, it was like a total of like 8 or 9 hours. Yeah.
So is that because after every time somebody moved forward, they had to reset the cameras? Was it like that kind of stuff?
There was 456 people one time. And then you held your position for about 30 to 40 minutes. So 7 hours, 30 to 40 minutes. You could play that song. It's about 3 seconds. And you're freezing cold. So like, you're not moving. So it was just torture. But like there's $4.56 million on the line. They're not going to make it easy. So
right.
that's how they, anyone looking at the game, they could be like, I could totally do red light, green light. Cause the pace of the show, it shows, but no, like they made it hard for a reason. There's 4.5 million, there's 4.5 million on the table. So
what's going on in your mind in hour 3 of playing that game? How are you entertaining yourself? What are you thinking about? Are you getting more stressed as the hours get longer? What's going on in your mind?
At like, I would say like the halfway point, there was like I would say like a numbing period where it was just like, I wasn't thinking anything. I wasn't like stressing about anything. I started counting the numbers on people's backs that was in front of me. Cause obviously you can't move. So your head's like stationary. I was counting the numbers on people's backs. So like if it was like 4, 5, 6, it'd be 11 plus 4. That's 15. All right. He has 15. Like that's what I kept doing. I know it sounds stupid, but 40 minutes, it was really hard. It was really hard.
Yeah, because they don't show it like that on the show. It seems like it happened in a much shorter period of time.
Yeah.
That's what captivated me personally. I have such a short attention span. Like there's very few shows that I can watch without scrolling on TikTok or Instagram just because I'm so addicted to it. When I was watching the show, the way that the editing was done was in a way that I never looked at my phone. I was on the edge of my seat pretty much the entire time. They did a really, really good job making you believe that that totally didn't take, hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Just to film that scene.
No, they got straight to the point for sure. No, that was the hardest game for sure for me.
Yeah, so I have a lot of questions about the pre-step, but I want to hop right into it.
Okay.
There's an edit that we were confused about that we want to ask you about. And it revolves around the game where you were actually eliminated, sadly.
Yeah.
You know,
Tough.
hate to see it.
I screamed. I was
Yeah.
like, no.
It still hurts me to this day, but yeah, I look at bridges differently now. No.
Nice.
Well, during that game, you all agreed to proceed forward in a specific way where
Yep.
everybody took one leap of faith and then that was the agreement.
Yep.
In the middle of the game, Ashley famously decides not to adhere to that.
Yep.
Right. Everyone's mad at her, whatever. Then in the next episode, suddenly it's as if everyone forgotten that she had done that. And they
Yeah.
all get mad at Mai for sort of like targeting her in whatever game they were playing. Is there something that we, the viewers, don't understand about what transpired within all of that? Because to me, I didn't get it.
For me, as I went off at Glass Bridge, as like the show goes, it progresses. But there are some days where there's like just a whole day of just dorm filming where there's nothing that happens. You're just filming in the dorm. So like when I left, I don't know what happened in between. But you do see the whole, Girls Alliance thing where Mai kind of picked Chad, kind of just fell off the wagon right there. So like she already kind of, whoever wanted to take it personally kind of shifted like people's thoughts of her. Like, I don't know if we could trust her type thing. So I feel like it was just an ongoing occurrence type thing at that point.
Got it.
Where
People already had a
Ashley-
bad taste in their mouth for her.
Yeah, where Ashley's was just like, we had a plan, but like, obviously there's 20 people, there's 20 individual minds. Like there's going to be one person that's just not going to go through.
Right.
Like with the plan. So that was Ashley, that was her game plan. We got on a plane by ourselves. We're going home by ourselves. Like at some point we're all going to have to be selfish. So she decided to show her card there.
Yeah, fair. When you got eliminated, when you fell through the thing, they edited it nicely to make it seem like you fell like thousands of feet.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, spoiler alert, it's a stunt double. I did not fall.
They swapped you out?
Yes, they swapped me out with a much taller woman with like blonde hair. And I was just like, how is this going to work? Like, they just ripped my patch off and I was like,
How far did she fall? How far did the stunt doubles fall?
I would say like 10, 15 feet. Like, you know what I mean? It was definitely like enough for, her to fall and correct herself, to land the right way. But like, yes, they definitely made it seem so much like farther when the show appeared. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it makes sense to why everything was black. Like,
well,
Totally.
when players 1 and 2, or the first 2 players that would fall off the bridges, you were peeking over and like looking, and
oh yeah,
that's still been a very daunting thought of.
Oh yeah, I'm a solar electrical apprentice. I work on roofs, so I love heights. So I'm just sitting there like, oh man, I wish I could do it. Like at that point, we figured out we're having stunt doubles, so I'm like, man, I was like, can I just volunteer myself? I'll learn. Like,
That's great.
Dude, I just got my HelloFresh box in the mail. Ooh, baby.
Goodbye, stale. Hello, fresh.
Oh, wow. That's good. They ought to
Been
pick
working
that
on
up.
that for months.
Goodbye, still. Hello, fresh.
Dude, I love that everything comes prepackaged in the proper portions, because you feel like your favorite YouTuber or professional celebrity chef, where they have all of their things in their fancy bowls and it's just ready to go.
Yep.
As opposed to when you have to go to the grocery store and you got to be like, is this sweet potato? Like, is this one good enough? Is this big enough? Is this proper enough? It doesn't even matter, because if you have the green box getting delivered to you, it has everything you need exactly how you need it.
Totally.
And you get to be the star of your own celebrity cooking show and you have it all there for you.
Dude, 100%. I have a tiny kitchen too, which is funny because like my uncle or my mom will come over and they'll be like, oh, your grandmother cooked for 7 people in a kitchen half this size, a quarter this size even. The kitchen was this. They hold their hands out and they show something the size of a ball. And they're like, this is how big our kitchen was. I'm like, okay, this feels like a slight exaggeration,
Doubt
guys,
it.
but okay. But it makes it even more daunting to cook. So it's nice to just have it all there, ready to go. I bust out. They give you a nice little cardboard, basically cutout thing that tells you all the steps and like how to approach them. It is very, very digestible. Recipe instructions is comprehensive. That is everything you need. And it can teach you how to do stuff you don't know how to do. So it'll be like, you need to do this now. Oh, guess what? Bet you don't know how to do that. Don't worry. We're going to tell you how to do it.
Very
So it's
self-explanatory.
Like, right. Cooking for dummies.
It's like building Legos. If you ever built Legos when you were a kid,
Exactly.
that's what this is, but for cooking.
Yes. Any person who can read will be able to do this. So I was going to say it's okay for a 5-year-old, but I don't think a 5-year-old possesses good enough reading skills to be able to execute HelloFresh. So maybe once you get to like a 3rd grade reading level, perhaps you could probably handle it. Although we don't recommend it since there is, flames and ovens being used and stuff. So maybe best for adults, but hey, HelloFresh, it's where it's at. Get it in there, cook it up. I got some pork chops ready to go. I got some chicken pasta that's ready to go. I'm crushing it. And I also got the free breakfast in there, the turkey sausage with some egg situation. Cheesy and delicious. Baby.
Egg situation.
And you can get in there too, guys, because if you go to HelloFresh.com/oops-free and use code OOPSFREE, you will get free breakfast for life. 1 breakfast item per box while the subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/OOPSFree with code OOPSFree. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
It seems like later on, as the group of people got smaller and smaller, everyone seemed to slowly gravitate towards you. Did you have a strategy, or were you just being yourself and things naturally played out the way they did?
So like being like casted for the show is like a year-long process, interviews. And like as each stage I got further along in the casting process, my brother told me, like, you've been yourself the whole time. Just keep being yourself. Like, you don't need to do anything more, anything less. Just keep doing you. You got you here. So that was kind of my strategy going in. Like, me got me here. So I'm just going to go in with, like, no set in stone, like, what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, like, go with the flow, just, like, adapt as I go, basically.
Totally. Did you guys film this a long time ago, relatively speaking?
So my birthday is January 28th. I flew to the UK January 19th. I filmed from like January 21st to February 6th. And I spent my 29th birthday in the dorms. And on my actual birthday, we filmed Warships. So that was pretty fun. But January back this past January.
And they shot it in the UK?
Yep, London. Yeah.
We didn't see the game that you played when you did your round of marbles. If
Yeah.
I remember correctly, all I saw was, we were freaking out. We're like, where's Marina? Where's Marina? And then all we saw was, in the compilation of people moving on to the next round, you were one of the people that walked through the doors back to the dorms.
Yeah.
What game did you play? How did that play out? Because we didn't get to see it.
So I'm thankful that they didn't show my marbles because like I was just like waterworks, like so like we did, I think it was like 3 circles. So like the inner ring was 3 points, outer ring was 2, then the final ring was 1. So like we just shot our marbles. Essentially going into it, we had a picnic. I mistakenly thought it was a picnic and, turned out to be a marbles, but I ended up picking my like closest person in there. So I had to go against him. So it was just a whole bunch of waterworks. They make you like decide a game, shake on it, play. After the winner, like, you hand the marbles to the guard. They just like sit you down and then like they make you tell your story to why you're winning the 4.5, what you'll do with the 4.5. So like everyone's telling their authentic stories. Everyone has amazing stories. So like there goes the waterworks. So I'm really happy I didn't, but it wasn't really a close game. I creamed him. Probably why they didn't show it. Yeah. Creamed him. Sorry, Chris, but you already know I creamed your ass.
Sorry, Chris. 77 all the way.
Did they instruct you how to like die?
So like the first game was red light, green light. They just said when you're squib, so that's the vest that they hook up to you, the ink vest, called a squib. When that goes off, just pretend like you're dead. So they don't like, you know, there wasn't really much rehearsing other than like you were a kid once, you played dead at one point in time.
People went along with it pretty well. I was impressed. A lot of good dying.
That was my favorite part of the show. Like just watching people, I was like, oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. How did they find you for this?
They found a couple people. I know going into it, they were talking about it. They contacted them, but as for me, my brother sent me a Facebook ad. I don't have Facebook, so he like screenshot it. And like I loved the show originally. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be sweet. And then like I went back at him later on that night. I was like, you think I should sign up? And he was just like, yeah, why not? And like he was having a baby at that time. My nephew was born. So like it was like a month span. I actually filled out the application, filmed it, the 1 minute video that they asked, sent it in. They called back 4 days later, and that was a wrap. It was just ongoing for a whole year.
That's nuts.
It was crazy. I mean, when I answered the phone call and he's like, hey, this is the casting team, I was just like, shut the fuck up. Like, no way. Like 4 days, like, no way. I thought like, you know, a couple weeks or something, but like I was at work and I was just like, I hid in the corner and I was like, no way.
That's sick.
And you said there were multiple interviews, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of interviews. There was like a couple psych interviews. Like it kind of got like when they sent out the contract for you to sign and like you look at the contract, you're just like, yeah, wow. It actually right there, I almost didn't follow through with the next stages because of that contract. So I had my lawyer look at it and they were just like, it's a standard contract. Big Brother goes through it, Survivor goes through it. Just looks like a contract that's been revised, you know, over and over again. So I was like, okay, all right. But it was just ongoing interviews.
Very cool. So did you guys ever chill with the guards like during the show?
No, they took their job super seriously. Like, you know, there was a lot of personalities in there. They vibe checked everyone well. So like there were people that were trying to fuck with the guards, you know, trying to like shake their hand or like get them to flinch or something. And it wasn't having it. Like they were really good.
There was a moment when they brought the telephone out and the guy answered it and then he put it down and then he answered it the second time. And the second time he was told, you need to convince somebody else to pick up the phone within 3 minutes or else you'll be eliminated. Did you ever get tempted to go see what was on the other side of that phone?
Absolutely not. If you didn't hear my one-liner, it's my parents told me not to volunteer for anything because most likely it's shit. So I ain't going nowhere. I had a front row seat to all of that. Like I stayed on the bottom bunk for a reason. Like I was just chilling on my stoop like, And then when he started looking around, I was like, oh, hell no. So I went underneath my blankets. I was like, I'm going to pretend like I'm sleeping. You don't know my number. You can't see my number.
Clever.
I'm still fascinated about the dorm situation. So you said that you did go to the hotel for a couple of days. So you did end up actually all sleeping together in the dorm, correct?
Not all 456, but yes, at one point.
But still at some point, you know, a couple hundred, you know, 80, you know, ton of people. Were you able to fall asleep? Are people able to sleep with that many people with snoring and things like that?
The best way I can like explain it and how I was explaining it was like, you know, back in high school, sitting in the cafeteria, just talking, but you hear like all the other noise, like the hype of everyone's like super loud voice. That's like sleeping in the dorms. Like no one shuts up, no one goes to bed. Like everyone's like talking. There's no sense of time. No windows, no daylight, nothing. Like we're based off of waking up off of the alarm, like that stupid musical thing that they had us wake up to every morning, and then the lights shutting off, and that's it.
How early did that alarm go off?
I have no idea. There's no, they don't show you time. Like there's no time. So like right when you walk into the dorms, I didn't see daylight for about a week and a half.
Holy shit.
Wow. That's where the contracts come in play.
Yep. And then like they exactly. And then when they did like bring us outside, it was 10 minutes, but it was at nighttime. No one knows, you know, once it's night, it's night. Like, so yeah, after it got smaller and smaller, I got to see daylight. And walking out to daylight, I was just like, what the, like, this is fake. Like it shook me a little bit. I was like, wow.
It's gnarly.
My eyes were like this. I was like, oh my gosh.
Did the food change at all as there became less and less people? Did the quality go up at all, or is it consistently the same?
No, every morning you got porridge, oatmeal here. It was water, like no flavoring. They have no flavoring at all, like nothing. It's boiled chicken, boiled vegetables, rice. Sometimes they gave us like, I don't know if it's like a thing out in the UK, but they love onions. Like I hate onions. Onions were in everything. They gave us this spaghetti. Like I don't know how they did it, but it's like they dipped each noodle in the spaghetti and they gave you no sauce, but like it was just covered. And then like the matching ingredient with that was peas. So have you ever had spaghetti with peas? It's gross. It was nasty. Boiled chicken, that's what I feed my dog when he's like sick. Boiled chicken and rice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting the fine wining dining. That's for sure.
Did you know what happened in the show before you watched it on TV?
Once I left for Glass Bridge, they 24 hours, they get their last wrapped up interviews and they send you get out of here. So once Glass Bridge was done, I had an inkling of the dice game, but that's about it. And then
Wow.
I was watching it as you were watching it. I didn't know who won. Like we had an inkling of who was the final three, but like wasn't definite. No one really knew. So they did their thing of keeping those three, I should say, very.
Interesting. And once you're out, are you not supposed to tell other people like what happened?
Yeah, it was. They hit you with the as you signed your contract before.
How
So
hard
yeah,
is it to bite your tongue and not mention it to anybody?
I did it for a whole year because like you're not allowed to like mention about the whole casting process either. So a whole year I kind of like it was like, once I came home, I was like, I can do this. I mean, I can't sit here and say like, I told my family, of course. I was just like, you're gonna hassle me. But like I told them in a way where I was like, I'm either telling you the truth or I'm not.
Nice.
Nice. Clever. And I saw pictures of you on your Instagram with like the other cast and stuff.
Yeah.
Was it difficult to like find them after, like since you didn't have phones or whatever, or did they arrange that hang? Like, how does that work as far as talking to people after the show is over?
Yeah, so that was right when we got eliminated. So sometimes like games or eliminations happen like simultaneously the day after each other. So the people who got brought to the hotel from the dorms after you get eliminated kind of cross paths. So as you see, there's a little bit of the people that got eliminated in the top 20,
Right.
they called it the manslaughter. That's what they call it. But but in the hotel they allowed you to just like chill. That was the first time that they were like, have fun, like relax. They were like, here's food, and I was just like, oh, thank you. I was like, I don't like half this stuff, but it tastes so good, thank you. So we're not allowed to follow each other, anything like that, until the first episode's dropped. So
Wow.
we had
That's
to wait
crazy.
for a whole year. As
Wow.
of whether people kept that, I don't know. But so after the first episode was dropped, everyone just started boom, 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 boom.
Very cool. Do you have any thoughts about like the way that things played out after you were off the show? We're watching it. Was there anything that stood out that was like, what the fuck or something?
As I was saying, like we called them dorm days, where it was just like there was no, we didn't really get pulled out for a game or anything. It was just like we woke up, we ate, we went to bed, So the dorm days, we play like a lot of games, like old school games, Duck, Duck, Goose. One time we tied all of our jackets together across the dorm and we played volleyball. Someone made like a underwear sock ball or whatever. And we played with that. We played a soccer, a lot with that. But there was this game called like Mafia, which ended up, I swear to you, they took it and they made it the Circle of Trust. Cause it was just like, I remember playing that game, but like, so the Circle of Trust, I was just like, they're definitely taking our games and making them games. And
Oh,
it makes
interesting.
sense why none of the games, because a lot of people want to do rock, paper, scissors, shoot for marbles. And they weren't like, no, you can't do that. It makes sense.
Very interesting.
With season 2 being announced at the finale, what are your thoughts on what they can do to take the show to the next step?
We all have our conspiracy theories. I think that's the last of what you're going to see for the games that we did. So I'm assuming whatever they have cooking up for season 2 of the actual original show might be a reflection of what type of games they're going to bring into season 2 of the challenge. So if there's more newer games, in season 2, definitely expect those. Whether they keep a couple originals, I have no idea. Red light, green light's definitely, everyone needs to go through that. That weeds out half the people. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a mental game. If you can't get through that, then like you're not going to get through the mental part of being away from your family, not having your phone, no touch or contact with nobody, no daylight, the food sucks. You don't even know if you're sleeping. You're sleeping with a whole bunch of like white noise in the background constantly. There's 8 showers to 198 people, 8
Oh my God.
toilets to 198 people. I mean, if you can't get past red light, green light, I don't see you getting past the dorm life. And a lot of people left dorm life, like quit, self-eliminated.
Oh, wow. They just obviously didn't show that.
I don't know why they didn't, because like, just like people quit because of the food. Like they just couldn't handle it. They just went up. They were like, I'm done. And I was
Boiled
just like,
chicken's not for me.
yeah,
Totally.
I mean, I don't like fish, but they served fish and I ate it. Like, it's survival of the fittest. You're going to do what you're going to do. That's $4.5 million. I was like, starve me.
Yeah.
Well, I remember seeing one of the players during red light, green light. She was stuck in a squat. Now, the producers and editors did not make her look like the best person because it seemed like she bailed from our perspective after squatting for 30 seconds.
Right.
So it seemed like until we found out how long red light, green light went, a lot of us were thinking like, oh, how could she not deal with that? Were you happy with how you were portrayed?
Yeah, going into it, they already tell you you could be a squibble on the screen, or you can have a lot of screen time. I wasn't there for the screen time. I was there for the money. Like that's a lot of money. If they ended up liking my storyline, or if I ended up doing something, crazy or whatever the case may be, like, cool, sure. But yeah, I was there for the money. That's all. I could give 2 shits about, screen time and stuff like that.
And what would you have done if you were able to get the big piggy bank at the end?
Definitely take care of my mother. So I have a 44-year-old handicapped older brother. He can't walk, talk, or see. He lives off of machines. He's lived with me and my family all of our lives. And my mother has sacrificed her life to take care of an adult infant her whole entire life. So I would definitely want to give back to her, maybe get her a little beach house, maybe get my brother into a nice nursing home with 24-hour care. So that way, like, my mom can finally, go see the world and do that. So that would definitely be my first thing.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Very noble. Well, I guess final question that I have, at least, and thank you again for coming on the show. We appreciate
No,
it.
thank you guys for having me.
Has your life changed since the show came out? Like, are you famous now? Like, what's up?
No. There's a lot of people that are like, oh my God, a local celebrity in my shop. Cause like, I go to my, local, food places around here. There was a crazy, so like, I didn't expect anything going into the show. Like, I didn't expect anything. We had this like a reunion party in Atlanta. I flew out. I went to Logan. Someone stopped me and was like, oh my God, are you from Squid Games? And that was like my first experience with that. And I was just like, and I wasn't in, this. I was just rocking my normal stuff. And I was just like, yeah. Like, I was like, yeah. Just like, oh my God, like we have so many questions. I was like, yeah, go for it. And they were like, oh wow. And they're like, can we have a picture? And I was just like, yeah, sure. So like as a kid, you always like, if you were ever like asked to take a picture, like what would your pose be? So I was just like, you know what I mean? Like I was like, I was like, hey, do you mind like, tagging me? Like you guys are like the first people to like, stepping outside the show, like to notice me. So like as I, you know, kept going, like it was more of an occurrence. So like when I go out to the bars or something like that, there's at least always somebody that's like, "Are you from Squid Games?" I'm like,
That's
"What
so
gives it
cool.
away?" And they're like, "My bangs," and I'm like, "Of course." Everyone has to have a trademark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for hopping on with us.
Thank you.
It was really appreciate you taking the time, and it was so much fun watching you on the show. The show was so much fun to watch, and yeah, we're pumped for Squid Game season 2 and the challenge season 2. So
Well, for sure, you guys should apply.
yeah, maybe.
Ooh, get
Maybe.
Lynch on
Yeah,
there.
come on,
Get
you know,
CG
I'm
on there.
already giving you a little insight, you know what I mean? You guys you have a little step up on me watching me, you know?
That's true.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Awesome. Marina, you're a real one. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you.
on.
Thank you
can follow
guys.
her,
It's been so much fun.
Rini2626
Yes.
on the gram. Is there anything else you want to plug or promote while you're here?
No, thank you guys for having me. You guys are so funny, so awesome, so real. Appreciate it. I couldn't be any more excited to be on here today. So thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thanks, Marina.
Take care.
Bye guys. Happy New
See you
Year.
later.
Happy New
Yes,
Year.
Happy New Year.